I'll woo with you. All right, you win. You win. They win. They win. It's a losing battle. All right, what's up? It's Kevin Kenny. This is the Build Series, live in New York City. All the stuff I usually say at the top of shows like this. And we have quite the guest. They just dropped their 13th studio album this past Friday. They're in the midst, as I just found out, backstage, of a massive summer tour. Please give it up for 311. What's going on, fellas? We were talking about Snoop Dogg, the DJ.
And the phenomenon thereof.
Yeah.
DJ Snoopadelic, he goes by when he does.
Oh, really?
He stopped everything because he dropped his spliff.
Oh, did he really?
He's like, hold on, everybody.
He said he wants to tour with us again. We were like,
is that what he said?
Let's do that.
You think that was like industry talk? Everyone's buddies
no,
backstage?
he was like, give me your number. We gotta make
Oh,
this
no
happen.
way.
He also said we're really good at basketball, and I don't know how he has any idea.
One look. And
Yeah, obviously.
Just a random compliment. It's good at basketball. Yeah,
We got it on video.
Well, if you're just joining us, by the way, hi. That was a Weenie Roast, K-Rock's annual festival or concert, if you will, out in LA. It's an interesting lineup, but you guys were on it. And Nick, I saw on social media you did share somewhat of a moment with Snoop Dogg backstage. Is that what happened? Was there anything else exchanged?
Yeah, we were talking cannabis and touring.
No.
Snoop?
Because we had a good old time touring with him back in 07 or 08.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
And he got really into the unity and the vibe of the 311 tour. It was a really good match.
I don't know how you guys will feel about the term rap rock, but it's probably something that people called you early on, right? Because there wasn't a good term for music that you were making that was so original. But how were you received by like hip hop back then? Do you remember? Like, was it almost like were you not laughed at, but like were you accepted?
How are we?
Y'all rap?
Yeah. How is it now?
Well, no, I'm saying though early on because what's fascinating about a band like 311, right, is like there
It's changed.
there aren't a ton of examples of bands like you before 311 comes along, right?
Yeah, I think it was always kind of a head scratcher, and I think that was kind of the point. You know, we wanted it to be something brand new. We wanted it to be something fresh, and we wanted it to endlessly represent our influences in that moment. And we were 20-somethings just eating music, you know, taking in all the influences from the other guys in the bands, and then writing at the same time. So we were coming up with hip hop, funk, metal, jazz, reggae.
We were in the middle of the country, pulling influences from all over the world, you know, from Jamaica, from LA, from New York, and it just felt right to be free and do whatever influenced us. Whatever you listen to is what will come out.
Right.
But, you know, we've had some cool, weird bills in the past, like co-headlining the Liquid Mix tour with Jay-Z.
Yeah.
It worked out great.
Well,
Except you said in Chicago they were kind of
Oh man, that was the toughest show every night. It was just impossible.
that tour.
Yeah, and going
I don't
on
remember it that
after
way.
Snoop Dogg. Going before Jay-Z was tough, and going after Snoop Dogg was incredibly difficult. But we like those kind of challenges. We're up for that.
Yeah.
We'll play anywhere.
Yeah. I want to get back really quick, though, to like the origin of 311 and you guys borrowing or from all these influences around the country and really world. Right now, that doesn't sound like crazy because we have this thing called the internet, right, where you can just Spotify streaming, you just have access to all this music. How were you guys finding music, though? Because back then it was kind of hard.
Yeah, you had to get a ride from your mom all the way down to the little punk rock record store in downtown, in the old market of Omaha called Drastic Plastic, and you would wait for the new ska album or something to come out. But yeah, it was a lot of legwork to hear the new stuff, but that made it all that much more exciting.
Yeah.
Because it was hard to get when alternative really meant something. And then there was college rock, kind of, they called it back then. But, you know.
It was sitting down and listening with friends, you know,
Yeah.
and mixtapes, you know,
Yeah.
all over the place.
What was the first hip-hop record that spoke to you guys?
First drive in my first car solo trip, I had NWA, Fuck the Police. So it spoke to me very strong. and I felt very cool. Thanks to them.
Though we grew up in Omaha, I spent 1979 living right outside of Washington, D.C., because my dad went away we all moved there for 1 year. And this was the time of Sugar Hill Gang and Rapper's Delight, and I had never heard any rap or hip-hop before that, but it was a long bus ride to school, and we all learned the entire 20-minute version, and we would just all rap it together on the way to school, and it was like the coolest thing. And then moved back to Omaha, and I would rap for my friends. They're like, "What is this? This is amazing." So that was my first hip hop exposure.
Did you guys find 311 to be a tough sell early on? Because in 1990, what the hell is rap rock, right? I guess Anthrax and Public Enemy like have that one record out at the time.
Sure.
But outside of that, man, like
It was Faith No More had a hit with the song "Epic," which was kind of kicked
little
some
rap
doors
rocky,
open.
yeah.
But
Yeah, it was a give and take. The people that supported it, they've been waiting their whole lives for it. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And then the people that weren't ready for it, still aren't ready for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like that. And that's okay.
Nick, you said something that really caught my ear. I work at an alternative radio station, and in 2019, what is alternative, right? It's this question that I always ponder because I'll play a song and I'm like, dude, this is on the Z100, the pop station here in New York City, or I'll hear another song and it's just it's almost like Smashing Pumpkins next to like some car commercial song, right? What were you alluding to there? Can you give me your thoughts on just the evolution of the term alternative?
yeah, well, I definitely remember when it was. When we first started out, rock radio was dominated by grunge. So, that was the beginning of alternative. I think the alternative revolution in a lot of people's minds started with Smells Like Teen Spirit. But we were always more alternative than that because it was reggae and it was dance hall and it was punk and metal and everything, all
The Smiths and
Yeah.
everything going on in England.
super wide
Sure.
influences. So, we just kept doing what we're doing, and some, tastes come and go. Sometimes we happen to be with the current, sometimes against it, but we'll just stay true to our hearts. And yeah, terms change. Now they say indie, which is probably what they used to mean by alternative, but it's all good.
Well, I think what made the term so great, or the genre I should say so great, was it was this like indefinable thing, right? Well, it's not really like active rock, it's not really pop, not totally reggae. It's like this thing. Well, that's alternative. You know what I mean?
But active rock unto itself as a description is kind of funny too.
Yeah.
That can go
Most
like
Very-
inactive.
Yeah.
rock.
Yeah. Passive rock.
Still.
You guys ready to soft rock?
I always liked the Japanese term hybrid. I always thought that was cool. Like,
That is cool.
I
I
saw
never
us
heard
in
that.
like a record bin, and we were in the hybrid music. And I was like, oh, cool. Wow.
Wow.
Makes sense.
So the big day is June 11th, 1990, right?
June 10th.
Oh, June 10th. Okay.
Good
I think,
test.
I think you posted a day late there, Nick, then on Instagram.
That doesn't sound like
Your algorithm's all messed up.
What happens on that day?
we had our first gig together, opening for Fugazi in Omaha at Sokol Hall.
How's your first gig with Fugazi? How do you score that?
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend call a number at Drastic Plastic, and it just networked out.
Aforementioned
Really?
punk rock record store.
And we had
I did
like
not know that.
local
Maybe you've
legends
heard this story.
open up for us in cellophane ceiling. And I don't know how we got the slot that we got, and we didn't really even question it. We hadn't played a show in front of anybody, and they had done at least 50.
So where's that self-belief come from? Is it just almost the community that you have within the band?
This keeps coming up, and I like that. I think everyone needs to hear like a story of kind of pushing yourself through that. Like, can I do it? Can I not do it? Is this right for me? You never know until you try. It was all of that for us. You got to be bold in this life, and you got to be surrounded by the right people.
Yeah.
Resilient, because you're going to be told no a lot. So you have to just be ready to bounce back. And it, like you said, coming out of Nebraska, doing the style of music that we did, it was resisted at first, but that's why we took it straight to the people with the grassroots, do it through touring, and then that built up to the point where radio and those type of things were like, okay, fine, we'll play them.
For the sake of simplicity, can you look back and was there a moment or like a placement or a radio spin or maybe it was a music video that really broke you guys huge?
Yeah, I mean, it was the song "Down" for sure. I mean, and was that the third single off of the Blue album?
Yep.
Yeah, so we were just hitting the radio as hard as we could. The first single was "Don't Stay Home," I think, or "All Mixed Up," and then we came back around. "All Mixed Up" was the second single and the fourth
And
single.
the fourth single,
Yeah.
because
We were getting so much play at that time. So, yeah, it was when MTV was actually interested in pushing the culture instead of dumbing it down. You know what I mean? It was they were the ones exposing everyone to, this is going on in Seattle, and this is going on in LA, and this is going on in New York, and this is going on in Miami, and you can see it all in a row in some cases with if it's popular, we'll play it. And it was a mashup. I mean, I was listening to Iron Maiden and Metallica kind of on my own from my brother's point of view, but then you hear the Police and the way they put music together and how good of musicians they were, and they were still getting played on pop radio. That blew my mind. So,
yeah.
Lock yourself in your room and play bass and hope you run into a good drummer.
Speaking of radio, you were recently this year talking to K-Rock out in LA, and you were saying that 311, I guess, at its core has been about this personal struggle that we all go through as human beings of just being ambitious creatures, right? And always wanting more, but then also wanting to be grateful and have gratitude for what you have at this given moment. I was curious to take that from the macro of the band to the micro of you two and how that's sort of been relayed in your own life.
Yeah, a book that really opened my eyes recently is called Enlightenment Now, by Steven Pinker, the Harvard professor, and it's about psychology and attitudes about people feel like everything's getting worse, but it's because of the negativity bias that's built in humans where we always want more. We're never satisfied with what we have, and that makes us successful as a species because we're trying to build bigger, better, faster, stronger all the time. But that can also lead to depression and comparing yourself to other people and feeling inadequate. So, you have to temper that with gratitude and observation of the moment to be like, look how cool this is that we get to be here in front of this audience and talk about music and philosophy and stuff like that. Observation is the gateway to the present moment. And gratitude is the antidote for self-pity and negativity. Those are lyrical themes that are kind of touched on. That it's just always the struggle to find purpose and meaning and live the best life that we can.
Right. Pino, was there a time ever in the band where you were struggling with maybe gratitude for what you guys had accomplished?
I don't know. I think it's always been kind of built in since we had to put in so much time. And I mean, we know what side of the bread our butter's on, with the fans. And we've always been in contact with them. I mean, my mom ran the fan club out of our house. We had a hotline before there was the internet in a phone number that was, a
answering machine,
a 402 number from Omaha. Yeah, it was, and a newsletter that was, put out on a copying machine, that we sent out, and put in people's mailboxes and stuff like that. And to have a street team in the 90s and all that, and then to have tons of support keeping us going in amphitheaters now, 30 years into it. Yeah, we're nothing without the fans.
Totally.
Yep.
When did it become about longevity for you guys versus, let's say, like the party as a band? When did you start thinking about that?
Well, I think it's been quite a while that we realized, like, enjoying the process is its own reward. It's not about how many copies you sell. It's about enjoying the moment of being able, this process, to be able to have an idea and turn it into a demo and share it with the guys and then turn it into a record and then play it live and let it and see it become part of people's lives. And to do that now on our 13th time is a reward in itself.
Yeah.
So we stopped worrying about figures, sales figures, and that type of thing, and just realized, like, the longer we get to do something that we love like this is key. So we'll keep doing it as long as we can.
Yeah.
And I think our job is to stay inspired, and the audience inspires us, and we inspire each other, and conversations like this are inspiring. So
You find 13 albums in, are you inspired by anything new you're hearing? Is music an inspiration of sorts anymore?
all the time,
Yeah?
constantly.
What's something you're really into right now?
I mean, I put on the Apple Music new music mix, and I hear bands that I might not ever hear again.
Yeah.
But I'm totally in love with in that moment where I'm, in the headphones with them. So I'm kind of lost in the swirl of new music.
Yeah.
There's so much going on right now.
How important is consuming new music for a band that's been around as long as you guys have? Because I feel like sometimes you talk to bands that have the longevity that you guys have been lucky enough to have, and what are you listening to? And it's all stuff from back in the day, which is cool. It's great. They're great records. But do you think about that as artists?
Absolutely. I think that there's a tendency for people to close their minds, and there's been actual research on that. That there's a quest for novelty at a certain age that kind of closes down. So as an artist that's past that natural age to have a desire for novelty, you have to kind of force yourself to be exposed to new things, and then it becomes easy. And having young kids that are into the latest music kind of helps open new doors. And I think stylistically we've shown on this new album there's some new influences, some kind of the dynamics and big filter sweeps and stuff that's taken from some dubstep and EDM, but still as a rock band that not a lot of other people have done that. And we were always, hybrid music, like he was saying, and up with the latest stuff. So I think it's important to keep your mind open, because that's kind of a trap that people can fall in. Like, they don't make any good music anymore these days, but that's not true. There's still tons of people getting into music, and even though it's the texture has changed, there's still creativity. You just got to know where to look. And I love Kendrick Lamar and Tame Impala and Babies Crying and everything.
Babies Crying is a great
Somebody
name for a
sample
band.
this. No. Well, no, it's funny. There's a lot of parallels between what you just said and things I run into working at an alternative radio station. Is there's so many people that I think don't appreciate the essence or the nuance of what made bands like you guys great, that are still prevalent in different ways today, right? The mashing of genres, the combining of sonics, and it's interesting. Getting back to Voyager though, really quick. I know John Feldman did about 4 tracks on this record, right?
Yeah.
I think
3 or
so.
4, yeah.
3 or 4. Now, there's so many bands that come on this show, and Feldman is like, I feel like the new it producer in the world of rock, in the world of punk, whatever you want to call it. But you guys must have known him when he was just like the guy from Goldfinger, right? So what is?
Before he produced anything.
He still is. In a way, and that's what's so cool, to be in a room with him creating. We sit down like friends having a conversation.
Right, but it's such an interesting perspective as opposed to a lot of acts that I talk to who, probably idolized him because he's the guy on the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack, right, when we're growing up. But you guys knowing him from almost like a peer perspective, what was that like working with him?
He had said things to Nick that no one has ever even tried to say. And I'm talking like Hugh Padgham and Eddie Offord, these gigantic, and Bob Rock even. They're so into making sure that the singer, when they're in the room, they're in the booth together, isn't freaked out by being harsh or whatever. Like, hey, that was pretty good, Bet you can do it better, man. A little pat on the back from the uncle. But Feldman was like, do better. Like, get in there, do it again. And it was great. It was really like one-to-one peer, just like
Never bothered me.
pure knowledge. Yeah, he knew it wasn't going to
We've
trouble
been
him.
friends since back in 96, 97 when Goldfinger would tour with us, and I would go out and sing Nightclub by the Specials during their set. And we've just always stayed in touch, and I have a lot of respect for him. And I like to be challenged.
He got great performances out of you. That was
Yeah.
the thing. That was the takeaway.
And we would argue about keys. Like, he's like, go higher. And I was like, I don't know if I can. And
I got to sing this on stage, man.
But I push myself a lot. So I ask people to push me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, whether it's a producer like that or a personal trainer to tell me to go do more reps or whatever. It's like there's no ceiling.
You got to be uncomfortable, or you're not going to grow.
Well, yeah, it's like the new horizons you guys always talk about, right? And wouldn't you agree there's always new horizons? It's not age dependent, right? It's not youth dependent.
better not
There's
be.
always
Yeah.
but there really are if you keep your mind open, right?
Yeah.
Totally. That's awesome.
There's always more to learn.
What was AC like? I wanted to ask you about that. Warp just turned 25, and you guys went down there. And
A mess.
It was a clusterfuck.
were you there the day that they had to
Yes.
Yeah.
You were there the day that
They cleared everybody out, and then they let
bad weather. If you didn't know.
everybody back in without any sort of a pat down or anything. Like, there was just no
Or
security.
a ticket
so
check.
It was
Yeah.
just.
It was crazy.
And then
it's
there
very
was
punk rock. It's a vibe. That's what we were told.
sound problems, that the soundboard and the monitor board crashed.
Oh, no.
So they couldn't figure out where SA's mic was coming up on the thing, so nobody could hear him. And so.
Yeah.
That
We
was
were
like
getting
the
yelled
Sublime
at.
interview I just did.
We were getting yelled at by the audience. They were saying, fix the mic. And we thought for sure they were saying,
SA was in our ears. We were
Yeah.
everything was okay.
yeah, we thought they were saying, get off stage. They were saying, Who was coming up next? Who was the next band?
Day to Remember? Maybe?
Yeah, it was Day to Remember. We thought for sure there was just 20,000 people in front of us that wanted to see Day to Remember, and they didn't want to hear a fucking note from us.
That'd have been great if you acted on that though and just bailed.
Yeah,
All right, guys,
I
sorry.
was totally down. I would have been into that idea because it was brutal. It really was because we had no idea where it was coming from, and they were organized. It was an organized mass of people yelling at us something very specific.
X note.
Yeah, it was fix the mic, fix the mic.
Somebody send this
And
to Kevin Lyon.
when Essay's mic went live and the last song, I think the second verse and down, the place went fucking crazy. So it was awesome in that way that it was really difficult and it was really uncomfortable. And my takeaway is that we've got things dialed like you wouldn't believe on the shows. Just come and see it.
Are you guys doing the Mountain View date out in California? Because
We're not doing Mountain View. We're doing Sacramento.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Cool. All right, Ron, we got some fan questions. The first is going to come from right behind me, I'm told. There you go. What's your name, man?
Spidey.
We know him as Spidey.
Oh, yeah? Do you guys go way back?
No, just from going shows, and I'm usually up front.
How way back, though? Yeah, how long do we go back?
Well, I mean, I've been listening since early '90s.
Yep.
But I was kind of sheltered when I was growing up, so because my older brother got away with hell, basically, so I couldn't really do much. So I didn't start going to concerts until I was on my own. So like 04 or 05.
That's so funny. It's usually the other way around. Usually the first kid is sheltered and the second kid gets away with it.
And my parents
Lucky
let
you.
him do whatever he wants. And funny story, he used to go see Metallica all the time, and he actually saw you guys he gave me the Blue Album on cassette.
Cool.
And stuff like
Nice.
that. So
Awesome.
the new album is amazing, by the way.
Thank you.
Awesome. So my question is, will you ever play Transistor in full live again?
Again.
Like we
That was
did
really
the
smooth.
powwow.
The new stuff's great,
Very
dude, but wait.
What about that one album?
It doesn't have to be a powwow. I mean, if you want to do a powwow, that's great.
Right.
But will you ever
Spidey's
play
down.
that album live again?
Yes.
I'd love to.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes.
That's good enough for me.
Yeah, it's fun. It's almost the perfect length of a show too in 21 songs,
He's got his Transistor shirt on.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
And there's
selling
some
it.
B-sides in there that you could add
Exactly.
if you
yeah,
like.
it's right. Well, we'll talk about it later.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank
Of course.
Awesome. Spidey, everybody. We have time for one final question. It's going to come from over here. What's your name?
Hi, I'm Nikki.
Hi there.
Hi. I'm nervous, but it's just a fun question I was thinking. You guys do a great job at all your cover songs. I love it. Is there a cover song you would like to do that you haven't done yet?
Oh man, there's so many. We've got secrets.
Yeah,
in this
we have
realm.
a couple covers that we've
Anything
done.
outrageous that it's like we would never think that you would do a cover
Oh,
song
say
of?
it. Tell him. Tell Nikki. Tell nervous Nikki.
Well, I'll mention one cover that we actually did was the song "Remember Me" from the Coco soundtrack from the Disney song, because my kids asked me to learn that to sing it for them, so I sang it at 311 Day, so that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, you did it all naked, all alone on stage with no brotherhood backup. Yeah, I was proud of you.
In the nude.
Yes, it's tough. Bold.
Can you hint at any of these other covers you've...
Kind of going through, I guess the '80s stuff. We've covered a couple songs, and we have to see if we play them together, if that's really going to gel or not. So have to keep it under wraps.
Hey, we're not pushy here at Build. All right, well, I'll let you guys go. They're telling me we're out of time, but you guys are in the middle of this tour. You're going to be, if you're watching locally, PNC, and then also...
Jones Beach.
Yeah, people are
Love
very
Voyager.
excited. And, of course, Voyager out and available everywhere. Guys, one more time for Nick and Peanut 311.